Hey, welcome to the Screenhops podcast, the real episode 6.
7.
Are we? No.
Yes, last one was 6. This one's 7.
No, it was 5, and you had to edit it saying that it was 5. Remember? Oh, dang.
Remember.
What episode are we on?
We don't even know.
It's fine. It's okay.
I'm pretty sure it's 7.
It's fine. I'm pretty sure it's 6.
All right.
We'll
Pretty
find
sure
out.
I don't care.
You know what?
Let's move
Max,
on.
thanks.
Let's move on.
Alright, so starting off today, we will be talking about something that most of the people, well, half of the people on the podcast today know about, which is PC gaming. Recently, I know myself, I just got the creators update that everybody hates for the Windows. That is really knocking out Wi-Fi. And I can tell, I know...
Causing blue screens of death.
Yeah, blue screens of death is so awful.
What is it? It's one of the USB things.
I don't know.
Oh.
I think, was it the 3.0 port?
No,
Wait,
it
is
was
that
something
why
to do
it
with the USB-C.
My Wi-Fi wasn't working.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
why?
Yep. Went to...
Well, partially. Like,
Okay.
I don't know. Like, campus Wi-Fi's been spotty.
Okay, I just make sure.
But anyway, yeah. So I bring up the topic simply because I know, like, all these games coming out, and I think it was... Oh, it just came out and had a really bad port. I can't remember. Something for PC, which I think you could say that for any
Happens
game.
all the time. Not for any game.
Yeah. Do you
There
think
are
that
certain games
because...
where they do fantastic,
But most of the time, I feel like PC people kind of just get the
it's
short
more
end
like
of the
half
stick.
and half, you know?
Sometimes we get shafted, sometimes we don't. It matters what the developer develops the actual game on.
Yeah.
Like, usually it's like the dominant systems. Like right now it's like PlayStation 4. So developers will develop games for the PS4 and then port it over to the Xbox One and then the PC and stuff like that. But if they do it like based on like PC first and then port over to the consoles, it runs like a million times better.
Yeah.
And doesn't look like trash.
Do you feel like there should be, like, no discrimination? Like, it's like, oh, we should make it good for everybody. It shouldn't just be like, we kind of... All right, it's good enough.
In a fantasy,
sending it out.
In a fantasy world, you know what I mean? Yeah, but a company's not going to put out a bunch of extra money so we can have an extra, like, 10 to 20 frames per second. Like, they just don't care. They're going to be like, Jimmy's got his game, screw him.
Well, as the audience grows, like, it's becoming more and more acceptable that people play just, like, via their computer. So do you think that at some point they will start adjusting things to take in that audience, or is it just going to kind of be, like, something that you have to accept going in?
I think the problem with that is that a lot of the audience is growing in terms of, like, mostly older games. Because if you look at the Steam charts for the Steam, what is it, the Steam survey thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at the Steam survey thing, you're starting to see a lot of, like, lower-end computers making their way to Steam and playing things like Gary's Mod and, like, things low-end computers can run. But the problem with your thing is that we're talking about AAA titles that aren't designed for those kinds of systems. So I completely forgot what I was talking about.
You were getting to a point, too. It was going really well.
Yeah, but I forgot what the question was. Hold on, repeat it real quick.
Do you think so? Going off of what you said, do you think that AAA companies and AAA companies will start to invest more in the PC community ports, so that because now that it's becoming a more prominent audience, like it's not just oh, it's like a few people here and there.
Hold on, before this guy who doesn't really know what he's talking about speaks up.
I disagree.
Because I think especially because like a lot of YouTubers are now like they'll just play it off of their PC. Like I think it affects the audience that are watching. Like if he's playing that, I might as well just get it on PC too. So like I can share that experience. So do you think
I don't know about that, but what I will say is that it really depends on like the developer and the title. Because for example, if you're gonna play something like Battlefield, it doesn't really need to be designed for PC. Its main audience isn't on PC.
That's exactly the point I was gonna get at. Like you have a majority of gamers are still
A majority of trash shooters belong on console.
a majority of the gamers in general
Thanks, Max.
are still on console, which is why any developer always emphasizes for console. You notice when they promote their game, they usually always promote it towards even PlayStation. At least the bigger mainstream games is always promoted more towards like PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or you have the little Nintendo exclusives promoting their own game, but they never really like put it out there for like PC. Like, this PC's getting this exclusive. PC's getting that exclusive.
Quake, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I think Quake. I think Quake did get that. They did emphasize Quake the new Quake Champions game for
the
like
bastardization of Quake.
Yeah, they pushed it out a lot. They want their main audience to be PC players. But it's a PC game.
Hold on, Rainbow Six Siege did that same thing too.
Did it?
Yeah, because they were talking about it being a competitive shooter. So
Our
main focus is going to be.
It was since it's a competitive shooter, like
it's an actually good shooter.
It was dominated on a PC, so it made sense that would happen. Just like.
Do you feel like there's ever going to be a crossplay where a company's just like, I'm going to put that risk and try to bring it in, or are they just going to just accept the way it is? Like, PC players play this kind of game, so we're going to stick with that.
Cross-playing,
if they don't play, if it's like a genre of a game or a series, they're only going to focus on that section.
Really? But isn't that kind of like a handicap?
Shadowrun?
But you understand how like detrimental that could be towards console players.
Yeah, because y'all are trash.
No, it's not because we're all trash. It's because low-key we're handicapped.
You're handicapped because you're using control.
Like, Malego, you can make a whole 180 spin on a PC just moving your hand to the left. While for a controller, you can't really have that much control.
It kind of depends on your sensitivity.
It really, I understood.
It's really dependent upon the player. Yeah. And to go back to what Asia was saying, like my view on it is I don't think things will ever be truly optimized for the PC first, regardless of the fan base.
Oh, never.
Because the thing is when you're designing any kind of a program for a console, the nice thing about a console is everyone has the same hardware. Mm-hmm. Everyone has the same console, I guess minus now where things are a little bit weird. Mm-hmm. But everyone still has that, at least that base hardware. Where with PC, everyone's got either ATI, Intel, well, it's not ATI, it's AMD, and like everyone's all over the place, and you just have no idea. Mm-hmm. So you just kind of put the specs out there, and it's like, just go ahead and grab it, and let's hope it works.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think a company will ever be like, oh, no matter what, we're gonna just focus on PC, and then we'll just port it over. Like, yeah, it's been done a ton of times, but most of the time it doesn't happen because you can't really optimize for everybody because everyone has such different hardware.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that it's kind of fair to like, explaining that for like people like who are watching or whatever, for those people who constantly like every time a game comes out and they're like, oh, the PC port is trash, docs points or whatever, things like that. Do you think that's just something that they should just accept, or it's just as like because based off of your point?
I think a developer, if they're going to put something on PC, they definitely need time to definitely code it correctly.
Yeah.
So it runs well and test it out well and put that effort in there.
Yeah,
like you have games
delayed releases for PC because of that reason.
Yeah. You have games that weren't tested well, like Batman Arkham. Was it Arkham Knight?
It was
the last one, and it came out and it was trash. And like my PC is pretty beastie, and even my PC, it was optimized so bad, it was just chugging. And so, yeah, you have to, as a developer, put the time into it.
But I feel what about the modding thing? I'm thinking about Rockstar and how they didn't want to put GTA 5 on PC, and when they finally decided to do it, the modding community
went to town.
Yeah, went to town, and then Rockstar got.
Well, that's on them. That's on them.
Yeah.
And so I'm just thinking maybe that's a big factor too. Like they really don't. Some developers don't want to put their games on PC because they know how the community.
They're thinking, oh, my game's good. I don't want a bunch of modders coming in and just, it messes it all up. Something like that. But then it's still a choice to go along with the mod. So
I'm thinking about Red Dead 2, and there still has yet to be a confirmation of a PC port, and I know PC players are very upset about that. So.
I mean,
I don't
they're
think
gonna have the first one wasn't on PC either.
Yeah.
Red Dead. So they should have no expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair to Rockstar, and considering it's Rockstar's baby, and they can do whatever they want. If they want to make it Xbox One exclusive, it's on them.
Yeah. Okay.
But the whole thing with the modding thing, some of the games are designed to be modded, and then there's other games where it's designed not to be modded.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of one. There's a couple games out there that
like Bethesda games are modded.
Obviously, they're designed.
Yeah, they're
to
designed
be
that
modded.
accept that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like GTA is like in a way built to accept that kind of
it's not
changing of the universe in some way, because it's an open. I think if it's kind of open world based, it's more designed to take that kind of change in the world or change in a character, something in the grand scheme is small, but for more, I would say if it's a linear kind of game or more linear base, then it's not designed for you to come in and mod it in any kind of way.
Fear was very moddable. and that is a single player. Well,
Trash.
there is, it is trash. But anyway, yeah.
There's always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah, but GTA 5 wasn't designed to be moddable.
Definitely not.
That was something that people took the time to like crack and
No, I don't know. I was saying like if you see mods in that game, it's like it's that kind of game. It's not something weird, that you would see. Like whereas like if I was playing, I don't know, like Alien Isolation and like instead of the alien, it was like a Teletubby. Like I'd be like, what? Like it would throw you.
What if instead of the alien, it was like the comedian Rip Taylor, and he's like, I'm gonna get you.
Or instead of the alien, it was Max. Oh my god, that would be so good. Just imagine him dropping from the vent.
Like a freshly birthed fetus.
Just armored fetus.
He is armored fetus on Discord.
God damn it, Fabian. That's exactly what's gonna come down. God damn it, Fabian.
Nah, it's just damage.
God damn it.
It's so good. That'd be good. All right.
You're not even in the Discord.
If we ever get popular and we have people who can do that, I want like an animated video of Max as the alien for Alien Isolation.
I mean, you got the time now,
Yeah.
The problem is I can't sit at my computer for very long, so.
That'd be so good. Just do it in increments. Maybe it'll be 3 years from now, but it'll be good.
It would be funny too.
Some fan art.
So now, one of these days, we're gonna like be like, all right, Max, I need to take some photos of you, some live video, if you don't mind.
Yep.
All right, so moving on.
But moving on to our next
from
topic.
Max's face.
Anyway, so moving on to our next topic, which kind of goes because I kind of brought this in because I was like thinking PC. When I always think PC, I kind of mold multiplayer into it. So the next topic is definitely multiplayer versus story, which is kind of like an old kind of thing, but I thought it was interesting now that they said that the Wolfenstein piece multiplayer port is going to be kind of pushed back because they were focusing on just getting the story. It was being forgoed because they were their words were is being forgoed because they wanted to focus on the story and making the story really good. And some people were like, people who are more fans of multiplayers were like, what? That's really dumb, like, blah, blah, blah. And then other people were like, oh, that's good. We want you to spend time on the story.
I feel as though at this point in 2017, games like Wolfenstein, when they put, there's a lot of games like that. Like, they'll just have a multiplayer just to have a multiplayer.
Yeah, it's typically tacked on in that game.
Because now, like, nowadays, there's multiplayer games specifically designed to be multiplayer.
Like
PUBG,
like Overwatch, PUBG, things like that with the rise of that.
Like it's all the emphasis is on like multiplayer. Like for a single player game, like I feel as though like just for Uncharted 4, for instance, like
I don't get why Uncharted.
They throw multiplayer in there just so like they can have multiplayer.
Have you played Uncharted 4's multiplayer? It's really good.
It's really
good.
It's fun.
Like,
it just feels weird. It does feel a little tacked on to like the game of itself. Like, it just doesn't fit.
You could tell yourself that
you
can honestly play Uncharted 4 even if that multiplayer wasn't there. I feel as though anyone would still be okay just having.
I think what it is you have the single player which clearly outshines the multiplayer, and we are so used to, especially in the last 2 generations, like PS2, PS3, like we're so used to having this grandiose single player and then this tacked on multiplayer where it's like just this really lame arena shooter, like
yeah, it's terrible.
I can't remember if BioShock did that.
I didn't think BioShock.
I don't think BioShock. I can't talk today. I'm an emotional wreck. But
So moving on from that emotional wreck state.
Yeah. So.
Dark and depressing, but you know.
I'm just trying to think of a game where I'm like, why did they even throw multiplayer?
I'm trying to think too.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, that's a good one. Yeah, like
I low-key enjoyed it though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's the
bad.
same. I don't know. I feel that way about Uncharted.
It was tacked on though. It didn't. You didn't need
good,
it to be there.
but like it's not.
It was fun. It was obviously it was incredibly unbalanced, but it was just like
Medal of Honor, the first modern one. That one felt so tacked on.
What about MGS4? Was that tacked on?
MGS5.
MGS5. I heard people enjoy MGS4.
Nobody Metal Gear Solid 3 Metal Gear Solid 3 had multiplayer. I don't think 4 did.
No, 4 did have multiplayer.
Oh, okay.
I don't think 3 had multiplayer?
Yeah, 3 had multiplayer.
For real?
Yes, and I played it and I loved it. But I can't remember if 4 did.
4 did. I remember my
5's multiplayer was pretty good. I liked it. What?
It's underrated.
Well, I mean, it's dead now.
I think that in general, I think like over, I would say maybe if we took back like maybe like 3 maybe years ago, like multiplayer, like I would say a game like Overwatch was like almost unheard of, like just a strictly multiplayer game of its caliber. Like I don't know, like if I feel like for some people.
Are you saying Valve is not a AAA developer?
No, I'm saying like.
They created a game in like how long ago?
I'm saying like games like Overwatch came out as like this big flagship for the multiplayer only games. You can't deny that, but I'm not saying that like years ago you wouldn't see like a multiplayer only game make it big. It was just like it's Overwatch is almost like a cult following at this point.
It is. It's
so
bad.
like it became the flagship of multiplayer games.
I think
definitely.
we saw that really one other time where a sheer multiplayer game was like that, and that was Quake 3 Arena.
Mm-hmm.
When Quake 3 Arena came out, you guys were probably a little young, but like I remember it was like everything. You go over someone's house, dude, you want to bring every PC, man? Quake 3, like.
Nice leg catch. I
got slipped in my leg. No! Ow! What did I just hit my leg? Oh God, I hate myself.
You're a mess.
All right, so
anyway,
the president comments.
Right? You know?
Yeah. So anyway, like Quake 3, like took the world by storm. I think, because Quake 1 and 2 were very story driven. They were fun. They had multiplayer elements that were really good, but Quake 3 was sheerly multiplayer, and everybody wanted to play it. It was like the bee's knees. It's how Overwatch is now.
It's addicting. Yeah. It's a very addicting.
And it was
fast.
I feel
like
fun.
Overwatch is kind of falling off now.
Yeah, I feel as though it is too, but that's my personal opinion.
I think in our paradigm, like in our group that we're in, and like the people we hang out with, it's kind of falling out.
I think it started.
Huge,
it's still super huge, but I do think PUBG's kind of like it's kind of getting up there, a little above it, just a little bit.
It's taking.
I think compared to I think it's starting to take out.
I feel as though the hero shooters are kind of dying down.
Oh yeah, well, Overwatch came out, and then all these companies are like, "Oh, this is a great idea."
And essentially, it's like, and it leaves in compared to other games, Overwatch is like. Yeah, because it was like Overwatch Battleborn. Battleborn got buried, but you know.
Already dead.
Was that game Limit Breakers? Was that game
Lawbreakers?
I think it's definitely. And plus, when you think of Overwatch, it's such like the concept of it is so like you could remake that into anything because it's so open. It's like literally, hey guys, let's create a concept and then create a bunch of characters and then let people fight with those characters, and it could be anything. It could literally be anything. And like it just has to have that little sweet spot.
Let's take a quick second to analyze what Overwatch is. It's basically let's take all of these other video games that we've already done, and then take things from them and put it into a first-person shooter. It's basically what it is.
Wait, can you explain?
I think
the character Roadhog in Diablo. What was the guy's name? The big fat guy. That like hooks you and
no. Oh, in Diablo?
Yeah, Diablo.
I love Diablo.
Diablo 1, 2, or 3?
3?
3.
That's my favorite.
Because he has the hook move.
The Butcher.
Yeah, the Butcher. He has like the hook move and everything, and everybody was all like, "Oh, this is all brand new." Tracer, the monks. What is it? The teleport dash.
The 7-sided strike.
Yeah.
I love that.
Not the 7-sided strike.
Oh, you mean the dashing strike? The dashing.
Yeah, that one.
I love the monk though.
There's just a
he's
lot
low
of
tier, but you know it's whatever.
Moving on. So, ignoring that last comment, but
he is low tier. He definitely is, but okay.
Anyway, Fabian, Max's point.
So yeah, they just took all of the elements that they had in all these other games and just put it into a first-person shooter. I don't think it's anything.
I think what makes it great, what makes Overwatch great, is the characters are very easy to identify with, easy to identify on the screen when you're in a match. You know. They're all different sizes and shapes that are just, and even if they're different colors, like you can clearly go, whoa, that's Warthog, I need to back, or Roadhog, or I forgot his name.
Roadhog.
I need to back up, because if he hooks me, I'm dead.
They have all their different sounds and stuff like.
Yeah, they have different sounds.
Footsteps,
they have everything.
Like you can.
They have everything that makes that
Yeah.
that character you play as like unique to
Like
playing
you hear the
as that
spurs
character.
from McCree. You hear McCree's spurs, and it's just like McCree's around the corner. He's going to stun.
Yeah.
you.
And,
You
and
see that?
that's the
What
problem
is
with
it? The
Lawbreakers.
tumbleweed.
Yeah, you see the tumbleweed.
And you're just kind of like,
yeah.
okay, so I'm just gonna hide behind this wall right now.
Well, that was what the problem with Lawbreakers is, because mechanically Lawbreakers is really good. If you guys have ever had the chance to play it, it's really good. But the problem with it is you can't easily identify who's on your team, like who a player is. It's just kind of a convoluted mess on the screen. Yeah,
That's a bigger.
Never had the chance to play it.
That's
so.
something I had. Like I was watching a video game donkey video.
Donkey?
And, donkey. My bad. He's talking about how like games.
This man just
I've heard
disrespectful.
so much about him.
Like
I've yet to watch him.
he's talking about Halo, like how Halo
He's
5 Guardians
like up
versus
there
Halo
as far
1,
as LPs.
and he's like Halo 1, like you could differentiate enemies and things from each other because the colors were so like. But then in Halo 5, it's just like. It's just everything is there. It's everything's happening at once, and the colors are like kind of like. It's just like back. It's like gameplay wise from then to now. It's just like
just good art direction versus subpar art.
Yeah, it's just like
like the difference between Bungie and 343. You know what I mean? Like it was still easily identifiable in Reach.
Yeah.
Like Bungie's last game, like you could clearly
you
tell
clearly
who's on your team.
who's your team and who's your enemy. It's just.
And then Halo 4 is just like, what's going on?
Just gonna guess. Just shoot
it's
and
like,
guess.
There's something
Hope for the
moving.
So, back to the point of what it was.
we really got
we
sidetracked.
did Spiral. It was a good Spiral though. It was
So, multiplayer
So the point
versus single player. Well,
is that what I was saying was I think that with the article and then looking in through Reddit and other things, it seemed like I've noticed also that divide. I feel like divide is even stronger between players who like story-driven games versus players that are like, oh, I enjoy good multiplayer more so than a story. Yeah, like so I think that's perfect for like so speaking again of Overwatch, I think that game almost was like a pinnacle of the divide changer because it was like, oh, a game where there's no story. I don't get it. Like me personally, like okay, Overwatch seems like it's fun, but like I do like story-driven games, so I'm just like I have to go outside of this to get the story. Like that's a little much.
It's just a matter of
to connect to characters and things.
The story wasn't really there. I mean,
the story is mostly there.
Like you had to piece together.
You had to,
but the story, but still, you have to piece it within most of it, though.
Yeah, that's 23rd. That was fresh junior.
Oh man, Friday Night at Freddy's is really old.
Yeah,
you guys are
It's
old.
been that long.
What, like 8 now?
It's been a long time. But then I also saw questions like, do you think like Overwatch will ever get a story in game?
Yeah,
like they'll ever actually implement it, or are they just gonna leave it?
Have one through like cutscenes that they release about
cutscenes
the game.
that they
but
release,
is it
and
in
then,
the game?
They had what was that update?
The one with the robots.
The Junkenstein one. Junkenstein.
Not Junkenstein. That's the one they've got going on right now.
Oh, you talking about the one where they have to defend the payload for mad long and then
from the robots. That was fun.
that was like during the war.
Yeah.
Mercy, Torbjorn, Reinhardt, and someone else I forgot.
Tracer.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So you say there's like a slow progression to there.
They're gonna give you pieces, where basically it's gonna be a campaign story, but it's only playable during the season that they let.
Yeah, I feel as though they're just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, well, they're gonna do that because it's like drugs.
Like
it's like here, man, have a hit.
Supposedly,
you get a little bit more later when you pay up.
Like supposedly the next one's gonna be about Blackwatch, like the little renegade team they had with Reaper in them, like, instead of like so it's like Reaper, McCree, Genji, and someone else. But
that sounds cool.
It sounds cool, but yeah, it's just like I feel as though Max is right about that. They're just gonna see over like seasons and like over the course of the year, they're just gonna have events where you can play the story instead of having a full blown story mode. They'll just have for this whole month you can play this part of the story. There you go.
So, we're still kind of going on Overwatch, and we're going to kind of move away from it. as it was a nice little segue into kind of the bigger topic of today, which if you have not seen Jim Sterling or you don't know who he is, we'll leave a link down below to the video.
We didn't really talk about single
Oh,
player.
did we? Oh,
Not really.
we didn't.
It was
Did
just
you
kinda
want
like-
to?
So Wolfenstein.
We
We did
She's the
spiral.
moderator.
Yeah.
Oh, we spiraled a lot, so I was like, oh, wow, well, we're here. Did you want to talk
Let's
about
just move
Wolfenstein,
on.
Max?
Let's just
You
move
like the game a lot. You
I
wanna
already
talk
bought
about
it. Pre-ordered it today. I got
When's it
like
come out?
tomorrow. I got like a $300 check, and it was just kind of like, you know what?
Let's
Yeah,
do
well,
it.
Might as well. Yep.
So, are you upset that the multiplayer is not going to be there straight off,
I was a little
or
disappointed
they're a little
when
backing off on it?
hold
I don't
I was a
know.
little
how-
disappointed.
Hold on.
when I played the first one and there wasn't multiplayer because I had played what was it, like Raven Software's. Yeah, the multiplayer was pretty good. But so I was a little disappointed in that when I played the first one and it just didn't have it. It was just kind of like, it's kind of disappointing, but you know, I understand. So I don't mind it not being there.
So now you're used to it.
Yeah. I know what to expect, and I was just kind of like, I don't expect them to make multiplayer, and if they don't, I don't really care because it's going to be a great game. So,
You got it out.
yep.
Great.
Let's move on now.
Okay. So like I said, you can check out Jim Sterling's video in the description because we are basing a lot of this off of here. So we got to give him credit, the genius himself.
Don't watch it. Watch the one
well,
video just because you asked me to.
Because
That was
he's-
it.
But he's amazing.
He's brilliant. He
He's
really is
good.
brilliant.
Yes.
I've
I
been
mean,
a
it was
fan
a
of
pretty
his
good
since-
video, yeah.
I've been a fan of his since he was with Destructoid.
Yeah.
Like his reviews were amazing, especially his Final Fantasy 13 review. The guy
They're so
had
good.
the balls to give it like a 2 out of 10, and like the internet flipped.
Yeah, like he doesn't care. He'll get
Yeah.
sued, doesn't care. But it's fine. But anyway, he pointed out something that recently, speaking of the Overwatch thing, recently the SRB saying how loot boxes are not technically gambling under their rules. So I don't know. There was a controversy there because people were like, "Oh, it is. Oh, it's not." I'm kind of in the party that it's not. But
really depends on the way
What
it's
would
implemented.
classify as gambling though?
You're taking
a simulated
money.
gambling is defined as, so like with CS:GO and that whole issue
Yeah, that's
is
a
that
little
you
different
would
than, like,
you would
Overwatch.
throw
Yeah.
money in and you're not guaranteed of getting
Wait a minute, you
anything
could just
back.
buy Overwatch.
All right, so wait, are they?
But with
Are we differentiating right now?
what they're
like,
saying is like, just for context for people who are a little lost, for like games like CS:GO where you put money in and you could get absolutely nothing back, like that's for some
Oh, you're talking about
some
buying,
versions
like,
of
the
it,
crates
things
and the
like that.
keys?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could get like absolutely like nothing. It's like
you mean nothing
or-
as
It
in,
will
like,
be in terms of
invaluable
money
stuff.
value.
like invaluable skins and stuff?
If
or
you're buying,
trash?
if you're buying,
Well, I
keys
guess
and
that
opening
is kind of an
crates,
argument because it's like, well, CS:GO was counted, but not Overwatch.
But-
The difference is that
Was-
Overwatch you can't sell your content.
And you-
in
don't you
CS:GO you can sell your skins.
But that's not part. That's not. Is that gambling? No, it's just selling.
It's not well. The thing is,
Yeah,
you pay
that's the point.
$250 to open a crate, and then you
Okay.
watch a little spinner, and it goes around and it lands on that skin that's a cent, and then you sell it. That's how
But
crates work.
but in the same way with Overwatch, let's say you spend $100 to get 100 crates or 100 loot boxes, and you get and about 90% of them are skins you already have. It's the same.
You get gold, but the difference is that
It's the same. But you're
It's
still
not
getting
really-
something.
No, no.
But that was their argument.
Yeah.
That's how they posed it. They're like, you're still getting something. It may not be what you want, but you're still getting something. And that's why they're saying it's not technically gambling.
I can see why they say
So,
it's
yeah, I can see where people see it's gambling. But I'm in the party that it's not. Because
For
you still
Overwatch.
get something.
yeah, for Overwatch I wouldn't. Really
And I would say for other games, it's still, if you still in return get something back, whether you like it or not, it's not gambling. Because in gambling, you lose. You get nothing back.
It's gambling.
I don't see it as
I'm,
gambling.
I'm,
don't
in, the,
think
I'm in
so
the
for
gambling
Overwatch.
camp. It is the same thing as going to a slot machine, putting in $1, pulling that thing, and
But
then
you get nothing back.
for certain games.
Yeah.
For
But
CS:GO,
I
you
feel
can get
like
something
the
back.
whole loot crate thing is just a big like money scheme. I feel like it's dishonest, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not buying any more games with loot crates. Like if it's got a loot crate in it, I'm answering with my dollars, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna buy it. Like I didn't buy Shadow of Mordor because It's got loot crates.
Which goes into the
This
Jim
guy.
Sterling
Well,
video
it's like,
about
if it wasn't like
the
30 bucks in
idea.
GameStop the other day.
I thought about it. I really did think about it, but like, it's like, I don't want to be a part of that side that's going to support a company that, you know,
That's
is
doing
in
these
single player
grimy
games.
tactics
in a single
of
player. That's disgusting.
what
Yeah.
Jim Sterling pointed out as scientific revenue. So for those of you who did not see the video or don't know what's going on, allow me to summarize from Jim Sterling himself, or really scientific revenue themselves. So it's this idea of, so this controversy came under fire after the other controversy in which Activision had this patent about, oh, you're going to be in this match versus this other person, and the other person is going to be a higher level with better equipment than you, so you get beat. And then you're going to say, or more likely to say, oh, I want to get what they have because then I'll be better. So then they offer it to you. And then you buy it. And then they use you to prove their point again and again and again and again until they make more money. So basically what scientific revenue is that. It's the idea that we're going to offer you things based off of your player data, which in of itself sounds a little bit illegal. If they're capturing data about you, they even go as far to somewhat think about your income and things like that, like the kind of area you're in. They take all this data into account, and basically they offer you the same content for different prices depending on the kind of player that you are or all that business. That's what scientific revenue is, and that's the whole idea of players into payers.
You forgot about the last part though. Like once you have the gun and once you've kicked a little bit of butt, it then puts you into a room again with a bunch of high-level people,
and people so that you buy again and again and again, and this is spiral effect. And I wanted to talk about it today and get people's opinions.
Well, we already knew Activision was a trash company, so let's get that out right now. In terms of the scientific revenue, did you cover the whole different prices for the same thing?
Yes, like how, especially like in mobile games are found to like, they'll offer you things at different complete prices, which seems really, based on how you're buying. Like if you're a player and you buy mostly the 99-cent stuff, they're more likely to offer you more 99-cent stuff, but it'll be that, but then they're more likely to offer you that same item for 99 cents, be like, oh, okay, you can get it for like $2.99 and you'll get a whole bunch. Since you seem to buy this one item a lot, why not just spend a whole bunch of money all at once? It's that idea, but then they'll charge somebody else who probably buys that same higher priced item for way more because they know they're going to buy the higher priced item every time. And that just seems super grimy, because it's just like, and it doesn't seem fair, because it's like, if I had 2 apples and I charged one person $1 and another person 50 cents, like, isn't there like a law against that? Like, I don't know. Is there?
I haven't looked into the law.
Legality of it.
Yeah, the legality, that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's perfectly legal. I mean, you could charge one person one thing and one person another. Now, if you do it based upon a characteristic of that person, like
exactly,
like
what they're doing.
Like
yeah,
if I was
for example, income. That was one of the things that they mentioned.
It is kind of shisty. It's shisty, but like, there's nothing saying, well, you know, this business can't sell to this guy for this much because they make so much. Like,
I feel like it's just a legal loophole somewhere.
Yeah, it is. It is totally illegal loophole. It's just bad. It's just so bad.
And so, like, Jim Sterling was saying, like, he definitely feels like it'll move into AAA games, and I think we're seeing that with, like, Shadow of War. Definitely, like,
well, no.
What's to say? I would say I would say Shadow of War is, like, a big one, where it's just like, whoa, your loot rates in this game?
Well, hold on. Let's talk about that company real quick. So, they put out a game called Gotham City Imposters a while ago, and they had a free-to-play model, like business model, on a title that you paid for. So, yeah, that sums up that company. Yeah. Free-to-play business model on a title that you paid for. Gotham City Imposters, when it first came out, you had to pay money for.
Wasn't that $20 or $40? I can't remember.
It was $20, I think.
I know it wasn't full price.
Yeah, it wasn't full price.
If you look at mobile
It was
games
still
today,
terrible.
when they say free to play, it's not really free to play. Like, you go into the
it
game
depends
knowing
on the title.
you
but it's
really-
also- they'll somehow get you.
Yeah, like it's almost as if the game is dependent on being hard, so that you have to spend money.
We shouldn't call them free to plays. We should call them pay to wins.
Yes.
Basic. Well,
Pay to wins.
I wouldn't say that.
Pay to wins.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
There are certain games that are put out that are labeled as free to play, that are not pay to win, and don't necessarily have microtransactions.
Maybe I'm old and nostalgic. I just miss paying $50, $60 for a game and getting the whole goddamn thing.
That was nice.
That's all
Yeah.
I want.
But there are games out there like
I think we're slowly moving to that, where it's like
mostly Swords.
What's
of
gonna
Iron.
happen?
you're really just investing in a game. You're not really buying it. You're really just investing that first
See, I wouldn't
mount,
mind.
and then now you're spending money over and over and
There's
over.
a real danger here with that
Yeah.
scientific thing. Or what is it?
Scientific revenue.
Revenue. Okay, so there's a real danger here, and it's what happened in the 80s to the video game industry, where you oversaturate the market with garbage. And I think even Jim Sterling touched on this, why he doesn't play cell phone games anymore. Because you oversaturate the market with all this loot crate BS and all this like pay-to-win crap and this downloadable content garbage. And it gets to the point that nobody wants to play because it's all trash. And what happened to in the 80s with video games was software developers were just throwing out trash and making it actual games that people would pay $50, $60 for. And people stopped paying because it was like, well, why am I going to pay for this if it's not even a working game or a good game? And where Nintendo came along and saved it and was like, okay, we have this Nintendo seal of quality saying, we look at these, it's a good quality product that you can buy that's
Oh
good
yeah,
from
he
start
touched
to
on
finish.
it on in reference to Steam too.
Yeah. Steam was getting that way too. I think it still is, in my opinion. But like,
They tried.
yeah, I mean, dude, I used to be a hardcore Steam user, but now there's like so much trash on Steam. It's like I don't even want to look.
They're trying now to kind of reel it in.
Yeah.
After a lot of criticism.
They
But-
tried, but they already
they're
failed.
This
Trying.
could crash. This could crash the
Try.
video game
putting
market.
efforts in.
They've already
Really?
implemented
I
their
feel
plan.
that it could. If it goes to
There's
the
still
extreme,
Max,
it'll
garbage
give
crash
them a
getting
break.
through.
They're trying.
There's still garbage.
They're
getting through.
trying.
And then what do we got to talk about once they crash it?
Yeah.
Oh god.
We'll be
What's
on this
gonna
podcast
happen?
being like, well, I really like Atari.
Oh, you hear about that new board game coming out? Like
No.
that's what's gonna happen. Like we're gonna just
Yeah, we'll
like
be-
nothing but board games.
I
See,
really
you took
like
a literal.
Dungeons and
And I was
Dragons
like, yeah, like
campaign
we're gonna
5.
be before. Like, oh guys, like that new Monopoly, yeah, like
I don't know. I think
good
GOG
stuff.
will be around if everything else goes.
We'll see. Dude, if one major thing goes down, like they're all gonna go down.
Fabian,
I think
your
GOG
opinion?
has staying power because of other things.
My opinion on this.
Yeah, you've been quiet.
Because like this matter, I feel as though they pretty much said everything I wanted to say.
How
So I
do
was-
you feel though?
I just-
Nobody cares about that. How do you feel?
They've already said their
I
piece.
feel as though that like they understand business. The business owners.
Let me
you know.
pose this question to you, Ben. Do you think, like Jim Sterling says, do you think this will just become something that is accepted, or do you think that not accepted? He didn't say this. He said that it would hit AAA titles at some day.
It's gonna.
Do you think
it's-
that audiences
yes.
will then soon accept that? Okay, I'm gonna pay for this
All right,
game.
so
I'm gonna
it's
pay
kind of
more?
like it's kind
What do
of
you think?
right now. It's kind of like
Mhm.
on like a borderline right now. I don't think it's accepted nor declined because it's like gamers like me, Max, and Malego. We've come from a time where stuff like that is not acceptable, right? But then you have newer gamers. You have the kids like I explained this before that their parents will buy them like they're the $40 DLC that has like 2 missions in it because she wants to buy her son the DLC for it, or get her son a shark card for GTA 5 because her son wants $500,000 because she can
Which
do
is
that.
nothing in that game.
Which is nothing in that game.
And
Yeah,
it
you
is
can-
ridiculously expensive.
It's ridiculous. It's like $80 for like $500. I don't know why, but and you can blow it literally in like 2 buys.
I thought, hold on, because it was $60 for
Max,
a yacht.
Max.
No, we calculated. No,
I
listen.
need you.
We
You're
calculated it all
overanalyzing.
out.
Max,
And
Max,
the
I
yacht
don't need
was
this.
something like.
Look, he was making a point. He was making a point.
the point being like
Because that was something we made fun of one of my friends for, because he bought a yacht and actually
Yeah,
paid
Max,
for money.
Max, thanks.
the point being like business owners only go where the money is. You know, I feel as though they wouldn't do this as a business practice if it wasn't working, and they've been doing this for a couple of years. Like, it's not something they've been doing and just keep trying because they want to keep trying it. They see that it's working, so they're going to keep doing it. That's why GTA 5 keeps putting out these DLCs for online. They literally retracted their solo DLC because they saw that their online was making way more revenue than anything else that they put out. So they was just like, hey, it's a money grab. Let's just do it. Why not? And it's kind of like, because it's like simply because of the fact that people like newer gamers of this generation, you know, it seems like they are okay with the money grab. Like it's like they understand, but that's normal to them. It's like, oh, I understand I'm buying a game for $60, but I'm gonna get the rest of the game next year because that's normal to them. While to us, we should have the whole game when it comes out because that's what they advertise. And that's what I feel as though we should happen, but.
Well, to us, we buy this Destiny at launch.
Yeah, and Destiny
are extremely disappointed.
I'm
get a middle finger from Bungie when they're like, "Oh, you could buy the game again."
Yeah, you could buy the game again. Like the first thing you open a case, if you did buy the case, the first thing that you saw the Angry Joe review, like the first thing you see is the expansion. It's just like, it's disappointing to see. Like, but that's what I mean. At the end of the day, like Malego always says, they're a business, and they have to do what they have to do to make money. And that's the whole point. So, it's.
The sad part is they don't see the big picture.
Yeah,
of how it can destroy the
emotional wise, like it's just like anything. Like emotionally wise, you see that it's a really bad thing. People see this as a morally bad thing, but logically wise, they're doing what businesses do best: make money, and that's what they're doing.
For us, like the consumers, it feels like paying for a movie ticket and getting to see 60% of the movie.
Exactly.
And then having to pay again to see the remaining 40%.
Yeah, it's like you can't see the rest of the movie unless you pay another.
And it's your
I think sometimes
AMC movie theater where it's already trash anyway. So.
And I think like I've seen like where they'll use the thing. Oh well, you know, like Telltale's gets to do it all the time. And I was like, well, Telltale offer you. Yeah, they're like, oh well, here's 5 episodes. You can pay about $16, $17 for the full season. And yeah, you gotta wait, but. I feel like that to me is acceptable because they're like, we're not overcharging you. We're just like, hey, here's less than $20 for our game, even though they're amazingly produced games.
I feel
on top of that, story is like the biggest part of the Telltale game.
Yeah,
it's basically an interactive story.
Yeah.
So that's acceptable.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
That's something
I feel like it's just not an argument because I'm just like, you can't say like. For Shadow War, let's say any other game like that does like this grimy thing of like not giving you the full game straight off, like it's not the same. You're not getting. I feel like you're just not getting an equal amount of content to what you're paying for, like by leagues. And I think it's gonna suck. And I don't know. Is there gonna be? Do you guys think there will be an uprising at some point where it's like older gamers like us are gonna just put our foots down and be like, we don't care how many of these youngins are coming around and giving you guys money. We refuse to do it. And I think we outnumber the new people.
Yeah,
I see your point. I think your point is very important. That's what Jim Sterling, he calls them whales. That's what they are. They just shovel in the cash. And that's what they're catering to instead of people.
The 20 to 35s are the ones that pay for everything. We are the dominant market share. We're the ones that have all the money. We're the ones buying most of the video games. You make the 20 to 35s pissed off long enough, we're gonna stop buying.
Yeah, we're gonna stop.
I've already jumped in that camp.
He stopped buying.
I've learned from Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna do that ever again.
Garbage.
Yeah. Never again.
I stopped pre-ordering.
Day one DLC, I will not buy the game.
I stopped pre-ordering.
Yeah, I stopped pre-ordering.
Like I think like
I don't pre-order either.
I forgot the last game I pre-ordered, but I think it pissed me off to the point where I was like, I'm not pre-ordering any games ever again. Like even
going back to garbage PC ports, pre-ordered Mafia 3. That was a
I admittedly pre-ordered. I pre-ordered Mafia 3 and I also bought all the DLC. And I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy the game, but it was a repetitive mess, and I shouldn't have pre-ordered it, nor should I have bought the DLC. No, it wasn't worth it.
Let me tell you about the PC port. Every 5 seconds, you drop down to 20 FPS, and you're like, what's going on? And you look around, and the car's tires are stuck in the ground and putting out like thousands of sparks in the air, which is causing the frame stutter. And then everybody starts to drive around in a circle for no reason. That was the Mafia 3 point.
Well, I would say I felt like that with I like No Man's Sky. Like going back, I go back every couple of months. Like when I had nothing to do. I do think
Yeah,
that I
was-
was gypped with that pre-order on launch. I felt like I was a little gypped.
I didn't pre-order No Man's Sky, but I did
I
buy
did.
No Man's Sky after it came out, full knowing that it was not going to be this engrossing story and Mass Effect in a massive universe. I just wanted to
think
fly
they're
in a
getting there.
spaceship and just go find crap and discover
They're
stuff.
getting there. Like with their
It's already-
newest updates.
There's already like
There's-
a galactic community.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah,
whoa, that
they're
is awesome.
actually, it's actually getting there. And it's sad that they got caught on the hype. That's what I think it was. It was the hype train.
hype
Because after
kill, hype
they,
kill.
it was after they had delayed it the first time,
And
and they saw
PlayStation
such a
forced them to
negative
release it.
reaction. They got such that negative
kill.
reaction to it. They were like, "Oh, let's just put it out." I was
Hype
like,
can-
that game needed a good year worth of more time.
Hype can slay a game easily.
Yeah,
This happened with
that's
Fallout.
all that happened.
Happened with
It's
Fallout
still a
4,
decent
like-
game. If you
I don't
Especially
think
the
hype
new-
killed Fallout.
No, it didn't. No, Fallout 4
That
wasn't.
was bad business.
Hype
Fallout,
killed
Fallout
No
4
Man's
wasn't kill. It wasn't kill.
single-handedly.
Like, Fallout 4 was not a failure.
It wasn't a
No.
failure
Yeah,
by
very
any
good.
means. It
That's
wasn't a
the
failure.
one.
It's just people overhyped it, and then like it wasn't.
It
People
wasn't what it was.
It wasn't.
what
it
it
was
was.
hyped
Yeah, it
basically.
just.
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't what
It
it
just-
was.
But I'll tell you one thing about Fallout 4. That is the first Fallout that actually made me play Fallout. I didn't like Fallout 1, 2, or 3. I thought they were
Did you like
bland.
New Vegas? That was the best one.
I did not like New Vegas.
New Vegas is the best
I
one.
thought,
Well, now let's
thought it was all
back
just
to the
fun.
art direction.
yeah,
Okay.
art
Yeah,
direction.
the
bland,
art direction
boring.
in New Vegas was pretty bad.
And
let's
I
be
got
honest.
tired of
I
seeing
enjoyed
earth
that
tones
game
for
so
8
much,
hours.
but
I
yeah.
played
That's
the
how I
games.
was about No Man's Sky. I was like, I'm tired of seeing the same dead planet
Yeah.
for like 6 solar systems.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
But I do think that's where indie developers will come in.
Yeah,
to fill,
they're taking
like-
I
over.
think they're
yeah.
starting to
They're-
rise.
Yeah, that's why you.
That's
I
why you
think
see
that's
games.
why Cuphead.
Yeah, you
was
see games
such a
like
huge
Cuphead.
hit.
Like you see PUBG, like.
Inside.
Well, the thing
things
about
like
PUBG
that.
is they're
Limbo,
doing big blue
things
boxes,
like that.
so-
Well, yeah, but then again, it's the indie game. You
I
still
didn't even
gotta-
know.
Yeah,
there
I
was
think-
PUBG in PUBG.
I think
How
that's
good was that
what's-
for me?
Oh, that's actually an interesting concept. Like, I just had this thing. I was like, maybe that'll be this opening of these AAA titles and companies going with this scientific revenue. It's just opening this massive window for indie developers to just come and rise up from the ashes. Like,
Yeah.
come up from the underground and just,
guess that's
like mold
positive,
people. They're just like, they come out and they're like, oh, yep.
Like, I love
Because,
indie
like,
games,
you
though.
notice more and more that, like, indie games are actually being considered for Game of Year titles.
Yeah.
Like, they're starting to get awards.
And
Like,
it's crazy. Like,
when
it's
they
crazy.
didn't used to be. Like, they're just like, oh, you hear about that one indie game that's really good? Yeah, but now they're actually hitting the mainstream level. And it's really
I
interesting.
love that.
Maybe that'll
I
be
think
it.
PUBG
That's
is
that's
way
what's
more
gonna
than
happen.
Just mainstream. Just saying.
I mean, at this point now, yes.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon.
It's just a modder who.
Yeah, it's
It's
hit.
just a modder who
It's just
made a
it's
game
hit the
finally.
mainstream. Like,
He's
it's
done-
absolutely taking
He's
it
more
over.
than just a modder because.
He used to mod like crazy for other
Yeah, I know,
games.
but I'm saying he was more than just a
Yeah.
modder when he released PUBG because Sony contacted him for H1Z1.
And it's kind of
True.
crazy. Yeah, 'cause it's
Okay.
actually kind of crazy, like how
He
much
is
like
technically a game.
it's overshadowed H1Z1. Because I remember how like it took over like the whole Twitch like life, like everything was H1Z1. Like, and then like PUBG came along, and I remember the beginning because it was like, oh, you know, it's okay, it's alright, going back and
It
forth,
was a
and then it
pretty
just
trash game when it came out.
completely skyrocketed past
Yeah,
H1Z1.
just-
Like,
I
and then
mean,
H1Z1 tried to come back. It was like, nah, PUBG. So yeah. So I think it'll be the time. Maybe this is the time. Maybe over this next year, it'll be the rise of indie games.
Yeah, rise of indie games. I would like.
Yeah,
I love
and
to
indie
see that.
companies, and they'll be reputed
It'll
more
be
so
more.
than AAA games.
Rise and
AAA
fall.
companies.
Because if you think about it, once an indie publisher gets that kind of money, they're no longer an indie publisher.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Money and staff really is what
Yeah.
makes an indie developer,
Yeah.
in my
Yep.
opinion.
I mean, Cuphead was made by 3 people, but after this point, you know they're gonna make.
They'll have some money.
They're gonna make another Cuphead probably.
You know what I'm disappointed in terms of Cuphead?
What?
They don't have enough stuff. I want to go out and buy like a Cuphead hoodie.
I
and, like,
really do.
poster and everything.
You know those little.
Maybe
fake-
now that they
I
have
don't
more
know.
money.
I would love some Cuphead gear. For
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really nice.
it's just
Cuphead
like
would
it's
do.
such an iconic like little thing. Like it'd be a nice
Yeah.
hoodie or something like that.
I
Like,
love
to
Cuphead.
wear.
It's a great game. Great.
It's so nice.
Great game.
So, for our last topic of the podcast, since we've been talking nothing about games, Paris Game Week's coming up. And they're talking about some new games and things like that. What are you excited to hear about? A new trailer of or anything like that?
You mean like new games in general?
Yeah.
Like
They're kind of rehashing some stuff that's like
I
coming
would
out.
love to see
but what
a
would you
new
love to
Fallout.
see?
Because like I've heard like a lot of theories like Obsidian who made New Vegas.
Oh, if Obsidian made it.
Yeah, they
Fallout,
Obsidian put out a tweet saying it's good to be reunited with Fallout, something like that. And people were like theorizing, they're like, what are they talking about? Like, how are they being reunited with Fallout, but they've only made Fallout New Vegas, blah blah blah. So it's just like thinking about how they made Fallout 3 and then Fallout New Vegas. They didn't make Fallout 3, but seeing how they worked
Didn't
with.
they have people who did one? No, they had people who did 2 on New Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. But they worked with people. They worked with Bethesda, Obsidian, Bethesda, and Beta Baby, which is Fallout New Vegas. And it's just like thinking like using 4's engine, even though it's an upgraded engine of New Vegas, whatever. But using 4's engine, and then like adding Obsidian in there is just like, I wonder where like I would just love to see a new Fallout game. Honestly, like I think
By Obsidian.
yeah, by Obsidian
Because
specifically
Bethesda's was trash.
specifically by Obsidian. Like yeah, I'm looking forward to that, bro.
I think it's funny how like
maybe-
companies have the little side companies that do really really good titles and then they kind of like back away.
Yeah, I love-
Visceral
It all
was
goes
just
to
kind of killed off.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I also would love to see
It
another
made
Smash
sense
Brothers.
why.
Oh yeah.
They kind of explained
think it's
why.
time for
Yeah,
new
well,
Smash
we,
Single
Bros.
player
we
only.
talked about it last week. You know, Visceral dying.
Yeah.
It's sad, Maleo.
I know.
Made me cry. But yeah, I would love to see a Smash Brothers on Switch. Add a couple new characters to the game too.
I mean, with GameCube controller support coming to Switch,
I mean,
It's gonna happen.
It's inevitable.
Because I feel as though like a lot of the market, a lot of people are still on the Wii U simply because of Smash Brothers. Because I know personally,
Smash Brothers is like a cultural phenomenon. As well.
yeah. Because like I feel as though my cousin specifically, he only like the only games he had on his Wii U was Splatoon, Smash Brothers, Mario for the Super Mario Wii U thingy, the 4-player one with the.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, the world one. I forgot.
I don't know if the audience is gonna get that. Whatever
The-
the hand motion was. It was
yeah.
like a typing and then a swishing.
The-
That was.
Yeah, the one with the really good music score. I love that game, but he only had 3 games for his Wii U. And it was just like okay, and he didn't get the Switch except for Breath of the Wild, and Odyssey, which is coming out tomorrow, which is probably gonna dominate.
Yeah.
Crazy, that game looks amazing. I was like, I'm so excited.
Well, I said before, I'm not really excited.
I'm excited. I don't know. I don't even have a Switch. I'm so excited. I don't know why. That game looks amazing. but-
Tony will probably.
He's gonna-
let us all know.
Tony
He's talking
probably-
about-
We're not gonna see
him
Tony
a
for a
couple
while.
weeks. We're not gonna see him for a
We're
couple
not gonna
weeks.
see him a while.
Probably not.
So-
Yeah, Tony is not going to be on the next podcast because Mario Odyssey comes out tomorrow.
He's
So.
probably going to wind up. I think he said he wants to review it. So,
Oh, okay.
That's good. So keep
So,
an eye
yeah,
out.
He's going to take his time off from the podcast next week, so
Yeah,
he can
probably.
prepare his review. That's what he's doing.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what he's doing.
Research.
Not playing the game. He's actually doing it.
Research.
But yeah,
Max.
No, he's researching that.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
So Max.
What's that?
New trailers you would anticipate to see?
I don't know anything about Paris Games. I've never heard of this thing before.
It's
I took
basically an E3.
It's like an E3.
But in Paris.
I'm in E3, bro.
But it's Paris.
Well, more like Gamescom. More like Gamescom. And
Gamescom's German.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
yeah.
Pretty sure it's
Yeah,
either
it
German or
is.
Swedish. I'm pretty sure it's German.
But like it can't. It's not really Paris Week Game Week. It's not necessarily more like E3. I think it's more low key. It's more like
E3 is
more
like a
games.
huge
Yeah,
thing, and
Gamescom
I didn't
is
even
more
know
like-
about Paris Games Week, so
Gamescom is more like you go and you actually like interact with the games
Well,
there.
Gamescom is Europe's E3.
Yeah.
It's Europe's E3. It is the be all end all. Just like the Tokyo Game Show is
Oh man.
Asia's.
Great.
It's Asia's E3.
So think of it.
So Paris Games Week is like.
It's kind of like.
Bro, just think of a trailer you would like to see that is
Honestly,
realistically
like,
could come out.
what I expect to see is like a lot of interesting indie stuff coming out of Europe for Paris Games Week. Like
Yeah.
some things that we've not tried, maybe some things from Ubisoft,
Mhm.
or that we've not seen. Maybe another Assassin's Creed trailer would be kind of nice.
They've already announced that they were putting one out, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that would be pretty cool.
We'll see.
Assassin's Creed what?
Or Origins.
Origins.
Yeah.
Oh.
Doesn't that come out tomorrow?
man.
Does
Does it come out tomorrow?
Yeah, it does come out tomorrow. It comes out the 27th.
I don't
Oh
know.
my god.
Wait,
It
To
comes
be
out
honest,
got
I
two
feel like they've
games coming out.
incredibly.
We have Odyssey,
There's still a lot of games that are
Wolfenstein,
coming
Origins
out.
coming
Not
out
a lot. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 more games coming out, like major games coming out before the end of the year.
but yeah,
so.
Origins comes out tomorrow. I remember.
No, that's good.
But
So no
Well-
trailers, so nothing, Max. You got Wolfenstein.
I
That's
was-
it.
Got
really
Wolfenstein
know
tomorrow.
Wolfenstein,
I'm
that's
hyped for
it. He's
that.
ready.
well, look, I'll take Max's. I'm looking forward to what Hideo Kojima probably. Hopefully, he reveals something about.
He ain't gonna
Death
reveal
Stranding.
it.
No, we're not gonna see nothing until next
hope
E3.
no way.
And if that's gonna be another 30 seconds of
He's too
weird.
big time for
Of
that.
Norman
That's not
Reedus
gonna-
crying with a baby.
Yeah.
It's like, what does it mean?
Well, I don't know. What Death Stranding still freaks me out because like they're like
Boring.
it still freaks me
What
out
does it
because
mean?
he's just like
That trailer made no
they're like
sense.
he literally
Absolutely
says
not.
he's like, oh, it's not a horror game. So I'm like, what the heck is it? Everyone's just like, well, what is it gonna be? What do you mean it's not a horror game?
I love Kojima. 'Cause I feel like Kojima.
He
like,
specifically made it dark just so he could be like, nah, guys, it's all jokes.
I feel like he makes a bunch of resources, and then like he shoots up a crap load of heroin, and then decides that he wants to edit the trailer, and then he's like sitting there, he's like, yo, dude, so I put this together, I'm gonna make up a new word for whatever the hell this is. And everyone's always like, God, he's such a genius. Oh my God, Kojima, like, what are you doing with this transferring thing? And Norman Reedus holding babies.
That trailer made
Oh,
no
shit.
sense. But what about also CD Projekt Red? I don't know what what's that game called?
The Witcher.
Nah, not the new game they're coming out with. That's a punk.
Oh,
something-
Cyberpunk. What is it?
20 something.
20
Is that the one that looks
something
like Blade Runner?
something.
Yeah, it had the one with
That
the
looks
female on the
pretty
street crying. Those
Yeah.
Yeah,
police
yeah, yeah.
around
Like
her.
a better
They've
looking,
been
you know,
teasing for since
It's
like
Sleeping Dogs mixed with
2014.
like a better.
I mean, I just
What's
like
the one? Watch Dogs.
like,
Better
this,
Watch Dogs.
I just like CD Projekt Red. They died like
really
Witcher
hard to
3.
beat Watch Dogs.
Witcher 3, like undoubtedly one of the best games of all time. So it's just like
We'll see how it goes.
yeah, I have huge faith in them. So it's just like.
I would say I'm excited to see like the Inpatient, like that VR game, where it's just like
I'll talk about it.
I don't know. What do you mean? There's some decently good
Dude, I'm
VR
looking forward to
games.
VR. I
Yeah,
want
it's
VR.
exciting.
I want like
Expensive, so
I want
I'm
to
not gonna get
live
it for
through.
a while.
Yeah.
I want to live through Sword Art Online. I want to get trapped. I want to get
I
stuck
don't know
there, raise a
that.
family,
If I get
get a
trapped
log
in-
cabin.
If I get
I'm
trapped in
down
Sword
for
Art
that.
Online, I'm
Considering
just,
Sword Art Online is like a mediocre is an anime. No thanks.
I'm just saying, I want to live it.
yeah.
I want
Living
a
life.
VR MMO. I want it so bad.
People would literally die.
I know.
They would find people just like, if you've seen the game, oh, it's gonna kill me because I can't remember what it's called. The Observer, that's it. Where it's like they live in this world. It's like an indie game. Yeah, it's an indie game, and they're like they live in like this world where it's like you could live in like where people checked out. Like they live inside a VR world, and like he goes around like goes in your mind and stuff like that. But it's so weird because there's this section in the game where this girl, this woman had the option to go into this little girl's body to like redo her whole life because she was sick or something like that. And I was like, see, that seems way too. And the
I thought
little
that
girl
was a
has
space
no
game.
idea.
I thought that was a
It's
space
not.
game.
It's not. It's a
I
normal game.
saw. Isn't the girl on the front cover like a space suit or something like that?
No, like that's the thing. Like it's just like it's because they're so technologically integrated. It's actually scary.
Actually,
It's kind of like a horror game.
that was a pretty low rating. I looked it up. It's pretty.
I personally thought it.
I had like a.
But
Honestly,
the point
you
being
can't judge
is
it
that
based
you
off
know
of
the
ratings.
girl had no idea that she was slowly being taken over by this woman every time she put the headset on until finally, like
Oh,
you get the
that's spoiling
you get
the whole
the
game,
you get
like-
the choice
Sign me up.
between whether you want to like let it happen or if you want to
Or
end the
fuse with
project.
The machines.
That's the free.
So you just want some random person to take over your body. That's what you're saying. To have the opportunity to take over your body.
If it fuses me with a machine, I'm happy with it.
Look, Scientific Revenue is gonna find some way through, and they're gonna be like, for the low price, you can get a new life.
No, I really love my life. All jokes aside, like.
Oh my God! Imagine Scientific Revenue mixed with like a Sword Art Online style. Oh my God, that's what's really behind it all. Scientific Revenue was behind Sword Art
I
Online.
would follow through at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4. We'll just say that part that Snake didn't follow through with, I'd follow through with it. Where he's like, gotta stop the genes.
So, but, all right, Malego, you.
What?
The trailers and
We got sidetracked, but like the
I
trailer.
already
thing.
said I was excited to see like the indie stuff. I was
Oh,
excited
okay.
to see, the Assassin's Creed trailer. Although I'm not gonna buy it. Is there loot crates in that?
Assassin's Creed? Nah.
No,
But
not
it's just you
not
play.
right now.
Yeah, but there's microtransactions.
It's you play.
at the wing
You
wing
play.
mining, so I'm probably not gonna.
Really?
I don't think so.
microtransactions. No, there is.
It is
I don't
Uplay,
know.
so there will be a certain number,
and
like
it's
an
like-
obligatory number of microtransactions
Yeah,
inside
so
of
I'm
it.
not
It's
But
remember the game's
Yeah,
heavily
but
the
you
game's
can always
heavily
ignore
RPG based.
those,
You know there's gonna be
honestly.
some type of
I
loot
don't know.
type.
see,
They said it's a lot of grinding. That's
Yeah,
what a
it's
lot
I
of
saw
press
some
releases are
gameplay,
saying.
it's
It's a
heavy
lot.
grinding.
Heavy
It's
grinding.
a
It
grind.
looks impressive.
Heavy RPG.
I would like to buy it, but I'm not gonna buy it.
I'm probably
'cause
gonna-
that-
No, look,
the
look.
microtransactions.
I'm probably gonna buy
Look,
it. I'm gonna buy it. I haven't played an
it's
AC
gonna
game
be
in a
like
while.
the Ubisoft Club thing. It's not gonna be.
I'm telling you.
I have like 5,000 Uplay points.
Not buying
I
it.
have
Do you
not
think
spent
that-
any Uplay points since I
that
with
works
my
though.
wallet.
Kind of going back to that, is that a way of thought that will like teach the publishers? Is it not necessarily buying the game and then just not committing to the microtransaction? Would that not prove the same point of just not buying the game at all?
Not buying the game at all hurts them a whole lot more than.
It
Yeah.
does.
And on top of that, they won't have the data for me using the game.
Yeah.
I feel like that's such an opening for a hack, especially because they just had the how the new hack or whatever that's like you have to change your Wi-Fi and stuff. If you guys
Oh,
don't know,
yeah.
look into that. Make sure you
The
check
WPA
all your Wi-Fi
Yeah, yeah,
information
yeah,
and
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
I forgot what the hack was called. Though.
I feel like that's, or it was, what is that credit company's name that got hacked and they didn't say anything for like 6 months? Oh, what's their name?
Equifax.
Yes, Equifax. That's it. That it's like that. They had like these companies are basically what they're doing. I feel like it's like harbor. I don't want to sound like a harbinger of doom, but I'm just saying. Like I feel like they're gonna take all your information and then someone's gonna be like, oh well, that's weak. Bing, and get all of your like information, like things about your income, things about like where you live, your credit card
Even more
information, all of
reason
that.
As a consumer, to speak with my wallet.
Yeah. I think it is.
They want my
I think
data.
before we let this get too far, because AAA games will get bought out way more than indie games, like before it gets out of hand, like I would definitely say like say something, prove in some kind of way, guys, like this is not okay, because next thing you know, like your business is out there, credit card, you're being frauded, and you're living,
Speaking with my wallet.
your IRS is knocking on your door because they don't care that it was a hack. They're just like, oh, it comes back to you.
There are safeguards with banks and credit companies. Like, I'm not too worried about that. Like, if someone...
Yeah,
I've had someone...
I just don't like.
You know,
I just don't like the information being out there.
you know, I've had someone steal my credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it was a 15, 20-minute phone call. They did the investigation. 3 days later, they were like, yep, you know, this person was in California, he didn't spend the money, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, because I've never been to California. And
Mm-hmm.
then it was taken care of. So, like...
Yeah, someone hacked my Spotify account.
Oh, not your
Not my
Spotify.
Now I can't listen to terrible music.
Yeah, I had someone hack my card, and then it was just like, but they were like, oh, it was like at 5 o'clock in the morning. We noticed like a $5 transaction on a weird website in a region you don't live in, so we kind of canceled your card. We closed it down for a little
I've
bit.
had my
I appreciated that.
My
That
debit
was nice.
card stolen. And with debit, it's totally different because that is your bank account there. And, like,
Yeah,
still that bank covered it
yeah.
and took care of it, and I had no issue. And 2 days later, I had a new card, and everything was taken care of. So I'm not...
That's nice, but it's the idea that someone could be you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
They
Sucks.
could make a purchase of
That's why you
God
gotta
knows
just-
what under your name.
Every
5,000
2 years,
FIFA coins. Grandma.
every 2 years, you know, you just gotta do a
Just
credit
check,
report and
just
check
check,
yourself.
check
Yeah.
your billing statement every other day. I check my billing statement every other day. So
Yep. So, we shall see what the future holds. The rise of indie games, the slow corruption, where
Rise
we
up!
all of our identities are stolen.
I don't even think there'll be a rise of video games if there's a crash. It will crash and burn, and there
look,
will be no
just like Mario
And
Brothers.
the only
saved,
things coming from the ashes will
Remember
be
when Mario
indie
Brothers
games.
saved the gaming industry? I think.
Oh,
Something like that.
Nintendo will probably wind up being the one.
The savior.
They'll be like,
Yeah.
their old grandpa is like, alrighty, kids.
Seriously,
Let me
though.
come down there, you
When
know.
you look at Nintendo, like most of the
Most
you
of the times when stuff is going bad, they
Well,
come
what
back
I-
in, swoop in.
but still though, you
Yeah,
pay
honestly,
for a
I can't
Nintendo
think-
game,
You
you're
get what
getting
you
a
pay
full
for.
experience.
Yeah.
And so like I'm kind of like, especially with all this BS, I'm kind of starting to sway over to the Switch.
Mhm.
Like yeah, their online sucks, but there's not microtransactions out the yin yang. Like,
You're getting what you're getting.
I'm getting what I'm paying for, and that's a full
And
experience.
every game they usually have is very solid. Like,
Yeah,
from what I know.
yeah. Nintendo games are
All
good.
solid.
I mean,
They
they're not
don't-
the greatest, or they don't interest me the most, but
It's probably because of the type of gamers we are for us, though.
It's because I'm old.
Yeah. I'm used to them.
I mean, really, the Nintendo. We think of the Nintendo now, like being older. I'm just like, kiddie stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's
I don't know
In
why.
terms
It's just
of,
like
like,
weird.
yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's more
just,
of like a family console. So
yeah, that's what it is. It's like they
It is
portray it like a
something
family
hey,
console.
you
So
wanna
you're
play
just
some
like,
video games
I
with
want
your
something edgy,
kids,
you know?
or your, like, just
I want to
play.
slice somebody's throat open. You're not gonna do that on the Switch, you know?
Well,
Now you could
are.
definitely
Doom. You will in Doom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They
They
oh
had
yeah.
that,
They're
they
gonna,
had
yeah,
that
yeah.
zombie game for the Wii U.
Yeah, Zombie.
The Zombie U. Oh my god, that was so terrifying.
Was it?
It was.
Yeah, I heard it was really good.
It was so terrifying.
He's such a
It was
baby.
so scary.
He's such a baby.
Bro, and then when you would die, and then
You'd
you have
see
to go
yourself
back.
dead.
Yeah, and then you have to go back and get your bag. And that game was so well made. So well made because it's like
Except for that
they
one
make
bug where like you couldn't beat the game if it ever happened to you.
Oh yeah.
I hate games like
That's
that.
but aside from that, you know.
Aside from that one
It was
bug
a really
that
good game.
completely ruins
You were
the
really
game for
like
you.
scared the whole time. Maybe we'll have Malego stream that sometime.
Where would we get a copy of this game?
Online probably.
It's
Amazon.
probably like $5 on
Yeah, it's
Review by
probably
now,
really
but
cheap. Yeah.
I don't really want to play it. I played it before. I don't like it.
Because it's scary.
It just. What is with you guys wanting to stress me out? Resident Evil 7 is bad enough. I jumped at a coat rack.
It was
You
the
don't
noise
remember?
he made. He
You
was
remember?
like,
You got turned.
but he like moved around the coat rack, like he moved the whole camera in a circular fashion at the same time.
It was funny because he walked in, he was looking around for a
He
second.
looked around. He was
And
like,
it was already in the peripheral, but once he put his cursor on it, then he was like, huh?
Yeah,
I was like, wow,
like
okay.
moved in a circle, and it was just like,
Alright.
what just
Well,
happened?
because here's the thing. When I walked into that one part of the building, and Daddy was sitting there with the axe thing that he had,
Yeah.
and then didn't notice me, and then he's like, "Oh, see you, boy," and then I was like, "Oh crap!" Then he turned around, and started chasing me. Like I thought maybe it was him, because I was like,
Oh yeah.
"Killed that guy, and he's back again." Like.
He came,
There was more
he
like,
came back to
"Kill
get
that guy, you know."
Lego. He's coming for you. He came back to get the Lego.
Oh, good time.
Yeah, good times.
But
Have some other sissy. Or is there another sissy in the group besides me?
low key me. Honestly, I hate stressful games.
I love scary games.
I hate being chased in a game. I'll just throw the
Why don't
controller
we
down.
just
I
stream
can't.
Asia playing Pac-Man?
What do you mean?
That's not scary though.
That's
But
not.
yes,
it
I
is.
get
There's ghosts and
stressed, but I'm
everything.
not gonna freak out.
Talking about.
Bullets!
Alien Isolation? That sounds like a good game.
Oh
Oh,
my
like,
god!
yeah,
I
you should
tried
play
playing
that.
it and I couldn't do it. Well, I got through half the game,
I
and
never
then I was
played
just
it.
like, I got too scared.
Yeah. You play that, and then I will play the song Blue Monday in the background while you're playing. How does it burn? Oh.
Okay, fair enough.
That's alright, I'm dating myself again.
Well, we can
Dating
leave it at
yourself
that
sounds kinda
note.
Weird.
You know.
Dating yourself sounds kind of weird. Pretty narcissistic too.
Well, sometimes
Kanye West.
when you're alone enough, you just date yourself.
Okay, Kanye.
There you go.
So we're gonna cut it there so Malego can stop having these depressing moments on camera. Thank you so much for watching episode 6 of the
7.
podcast. Just like we were talking about earlier, we do stream every Tuesday. Malego will be wrapping up Resident Evil 7.
Hopefully.
Right?
I don't know if I'll beat the game next week, but I will
we'll be playing it, and
We would love for you
we'll-
guys to join us.
so go ahead and join us. The link will be down below to our Twitch stream. You'll do twitch.tv/Screenhops. You can also join our general Discord where all of our fans so far. Go ahead and talk to us. Drop a couple memes, whatever you want to do in that chat. You're more than welcome. We are an open community. Please leave some comments down below on some topics that you would like to talk about. Go ahead and check out our Facebook page where we post all the cool little behind the scenes photos of each other. I'll be posting some videos that I had made up earlier on there. And
It's
what
mainly
else?
just making fun
Follow-
of me and
Yeah. That she got me in that.
And check out our no, god dang. The audio is the best part on that one. But you have to check out our Facebook page, which also will have, you'll also have to check out our Twitter page. We're going to try to be a little more active on there. Maybe I'll post them on there too. And Maybe not. Oh yeah, you got your school account on there, don't you? Maybe not. All right. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching. You guys have a good. Well, this will be Sunday sometime, so have a good day, night, whatever, and goodbye.